Okay. I hope the mic's working. It has been lately, so there must have been something funny going on. Okay, Mira has a much better picture. Nicole T has got a new picture. The old one looked good, but this has got two of her friends in it. Fire Dancer, the pictures she got, you just can't see her head, and that's a little bit of a disappointment. Little creator, again, I don't know where I found her at, or maybe she's not in my following list. And Faith, the picture she had the other day was good, but it's more of a torso picture, so you get to see her face a little better. Um, let's see. Okay, now these people, yeah, Mira's looking good. Bob Ross, he's making I don't know what it is because I think he's dead now. Um, there was a there was a thing on. It was a comedian. This was back. Oh God, it was either in the '80s or the '90s. Uh, I was over at a friend's house and we were watching I think it was on Comedy Central. We were watching a comedian on there, and he uh, he made fun of watching Bob Ross. He started doing it as part of his jokes because I was watching Bob Ross when I was a kid, and he goes painting guys. I really enjoyed watching him create pictures, but he goes every now and then he'd have like Vietnam flashback, and he'd be pointing. He's like, yeah, we'll paint this, and we'll make the hill, and then we'll draw the happy little trees on the hill. And he goes, yeah, all the happy little trees reminds me of Vietnam. And he goes, I was in Vietnam. And then he painted a little bit more, and then he goes, yeah, we'll add some Agent Orange and Napalm Red. Yeah! And I go, I'm like, I had watched Bob Ross, and I made a face, and my buddy goes, yeah, it's pretty rare, but it happened. He had seen it on the when he was watching, because he watched a lot more than I did. And Fall Symmetry, Hermitcraft. Can't believe it's made season 10 already. That's just amazing. Okay, now mic check, mic check, mic check. Okay, mic's working. Uh, yeah, mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check, mic check. I could hear it. I knew it was working, but I just want to be able to hear it. I want to make sure it's working good. But okay, now the thing is, I have not played. I tried, and I just wasn't able to. I'm. I've had a few good days. I think part of it is maybe my foot is healing a little bit more. I might change the status on the thread, but I think because I think I was sleeping a lot because my foot was healing. So it might be that it's a sign that it's good. I still have bad days, and I still have bad parts of days, but I've been feeling not that it's perfect, but it's just I felt so shitty for several months. It's probably still worse than what it was last year, but I have felt so shitty for the last couple months since whatever happened that it feels kind of good to be back to this. Um, but I'm gonna try and play this. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish the characters I did last season. I at least want to get them up to level 30. Oh, I might. This is only level 2. Okay, switch heroes. Okay, I'm gonna start over with season 3. It's wrong. It's gonna be season 3 because I honestly couldn't remember what I had done, but yeah, those characters were all dead, and the new one was level 2. Uh, okay, we got a monk, we got a wizard, got a witch. You know, they could do something where they could either put these in alphabetical order, or they could rank them by like put all the monks up at the top and then all the wizards or something like that. Okay. Okay, this is something new. Hardcore solo seasonal. This is something new. I'm gonna try it. Oh, it's new to me, anyways. Oh, Genevieve. Oh, okay, we'll go with that one. Uh, yeah. Okay, game settings. We're gonna go to adventure.
Yes, I live once more. I'm very hard to kill, and really you did a sloppy job. But enough small talk. I need your help. The Nephilim, that fool, actually killed me.
My dearest Hedrick, do not feel despair, my love.
Okay, now I've got some news, and I'm not saying it's new news. I just found out about this one.
Fate is a cruel mistress.
It was.
Your strength is needed to end the horrors that beset
I don't know. It might have been that UFO revival. I don't remember where I saw it, but
love.
I still think it's bullshit. I still think they should do more. But this is I at least I don't remember it. If I might have even covered it, but I don't remember seeing it. You had Chuck Schumer's amendment, which was going to create like a presidential committee or something like that. If it was passed, it would create a presidential committee, and it would be real similar to the JFK one that they
can no
recently
longer
passed.
deny the true
It was
nature
modeled
of the
after
evil
that.
rises
And
from the depths of the cathedral.
they
It is almost too horrible to admit the truth of it.
they would
It
look
is
at
the dark
everything
lord of
UFO,
terror, Diablo
and again they would be
himself,
looking
plagues
at
us.
the emphasis, the priority being on declassifying it. And again, I'm not saying it wouldn't be a goat fuck, but it the agencies would have to come and make a case for keeping it classified versus you'd have to make a case for why it would have to be declassified. And I think it was on that UFO. I think it was something I saw on YouTube, but I can't be sure. But they did get something passed, and it sounds like they're going to have to pass the UFO stuff, all of it, over to the National Archives. And then the National Archives, and it only covers stuff that's like 25 years old, so, but I mean, it's still a big deal. This would be like 1999 and before. And that really does sound like a good deal. That really does sound like a good deal. And again, it's the same thing. The National Archives will be making the decision, and they will have an expectation of disclosure. The departments are going to have to make a case for why they want to keep it secret. So, I mean, again, I don't think it's enough. I still feel that you should be writing your Congress people and telling them to either get Schumer's amendment as he intended, because there were two key provisions that didn't pass, but get his amendment passed as written, as him and the president, because I heard Biden sent people over to help him write some keys. It should be as him and Biden intended, and if not, they should maybe disclose everything. Just but this is a good start. Maybe after they've had a year or two to disclose everything, then we can make it. I mean, I still think they should pass it now, and let's keep on them about. I mean, I'm going to be doing that for as long as I got around, but I'm going to be doing that with this. But I didn't take any notes for today. This is just about, because it's Saturday. I just wanted to see if I could play the game. So far, it's going pretty good. But that is huge. That I mean, I mean, I consider what Schumer was trying to do was like a quarter loaf or maybe a half a loaf, and I'd rather have a half a loaf than nothing. But this is like a slice of bread. But still, and the other thing is, somewhere in this discussion, Corbell said that he had documents that were released from the intelligence community. He saw them. He had copies of them. And when he went before Congress, him and Knapp just sat there. They figured, well, we had real military, witnesses in some cases, and they figured they should really be telling their story. And let me check my stuff here. Oh, them are things to buy. Okay. Okay. This is where I wanted to go. Uh, but they did say they had that pass, but Corbell, I saw one. I think these were YouTube clips, but I don't honestly don't remember. Uh, but Corbell said that he had given those to Congress, and the agency. I'm not going in there yet. But the agency has denied that those files exist, and he gave copies of them too. So you might have again. I still think we need a lot of this stuff to be disclosed, maybe all of it, and then we can't have this. We can't have any. We can't have any.
I become more powerful.
We can't have anything like they want where they offer amnesty, because it sounds like even still, even to this day, they are still fucking around with it. It sounds like that. Oh, come on. It sounds like they're still fucking around because, he had the documents in his hand. And, again, maybe, I don't know. But he tries to be careful. And we've seen him where they tried to discredit Lou Elizondo when he came forward. They're like, oh, they just tried to deny everything. And Senator Reid, he came forward and he said, no, that was my program. It reported to me. And he goes, Lou Elizondo was a part of it, and he was investigating UFOs. And then they didn't. But there was a faction of the Pentagon that was still fucking around. That I think that's been proven to my satisfaction. And this seems to be the same thing. He's got the documents. Maybe they don't know he's got the documents, but he's got the documents, and they're telling Congress, "Oh, we don't have those. We don't know what you're talking about." So yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, this they should have had from the get-go, because I usually play by myself.
I'm amazed it still stands.
But I don't know if it makes any difference, but it sounds like you're going to get more.
Your trade awaits.
Sounds like you're going to get more rewards because you're playing by yourself. Oh, and right now, I'm not going to be, unless I come up with something really juicy. But I'm watching the news. I'm watching Belchi, And the only reason he has a good show. I don't, but I don't usually watch. I don't watch nearly as much news on Saturday. I usually just watch a little bit in the morning, and then I'm done. And I just want to say, Velchie's okay. I like watching him. I just don't like watching him on Saturday. I usually don't watch him that much because
I'm healed.
I'm gonna have to abandon this.
I didn't think I could get any better. I must wait longer. I've been healed.
But I used to get up and they had it. She was on like right around the time I fed the cats. The cats were a little bit early, but she was on at like 4 or 5 in the morning or something like that. And I watched Katie Fang, and I thought she was really really good. Not just because she was cute, but I really thought she was really really good. And she was on when I was up in the morning. Well, and the thing I found is I was amazed that they had her on because she seemed like she shouldn't be wasted on 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock when losers are up feeding their cats. I sincerely mean that. And I'm like, oh, cool, because she was I felt she was as good as like Rachel or Nicole Wallace or Chris Matthews, the ones I really follow. And I'm like, wow, she's hitting for me, she's hitting for me in the morning. And I'm like, this is cool. And then they moved her off and they put her at like 7 or 8 in the morning. So I didn't watch her as much because sometimes I fall back asleep. Like I get up, I feed the cats, and sometimes I fall back asleep like I did today. And I woke up the weekend was on with Alicia Mendez, Christopher Steele, and I can't think of that other girl. She worked for President Biden, and she worked for Sanders before that. And they were almost off, and I got to watch like a half hour. Well, since they moved her to the weekend, like Saturday at like 11, I think. Yeah, it's gonna be at 11. I haven't. There's a lot of times I just forget she's on. I just don't think about it. And I think it was either the last week or the week before, Velchie saved me. What he had on was good enough that I stuck around, and after the weekend was over, I stuck around to watch it. And then, like, I was turning it off, and it was almost over. I'm like, well, I'm done with news. And then I was getting ready to change it, and then I saw Katie. I was reminded Katie Fang was coming up next, and that was the same way today. Around 10 o'clock, I was thinking about changing, and then it started to snap that, oh shit, Katie Fang's coming on, so I get to watch her today.
Holy, you see that enemy over there? Could we find more like that?
Okay. Oh, good. I got life for second armor. Okay, Haunting of Hannah. Oh, there's more. Yeah, there was something I thought there was something missing. Like I got when I got this, I think it came with like a ring. There were a couple. There were two items, I think, two or three items that came with it, and I'm like, oh, that must have been that must have been on the that must have been on the one I bought for the. That must have been on the one for the PlayStation. Well, you get them, you just don't get them until the season's over. I've noticed because I mostly play season. I don't play. Well, I noticed that in the one chest or whatever, there was an abundance of those rings.
I don't have enough arcane power. I need arcane power. I don't have enough arcane power. Need more arcane power.
Yeah, as I do this, if I keep playing this, I think I'm just gonna play this on the weekend, and then that will take care because I don't need to fish
I
as
need arcane
much
power.
because I've got a mending villager and I've got my raid farm up, and I get more books from that than I do from fishing. So I don't need to fish as much in Minecraft. Maybe I can do these on the weekends, and then I'll just kind of bullshit with you and pretty much enjoy the game and play it. I do like this one better than the Diablo 4 because it's a game. Primarily, it's a game. There's too much of I don't mean it in a bad way, but there's just too much of a backstory. Uh, there's just too much of a backstory to try and keep track of in Diablo 4.
I am returning to town.
You know, they got this Nurtec commercial on, and I think it's Lady Gaga. And for years, she performed in these weird outfits. I don't mean to mean bad by it. They're not outfits that you or I would wear going down the street. They were really creative and all that. But she covered up her face a lot. And I firmly feel that if she was doing that for artistic reasons, that's fair enough. But it's like these people with tattoos. You get them where they fucking go overload, and it's because they don't think they're attractive. Now, some of them, they're like me. They're not that attractive. I'm hard enough to look at with my clothes on anymore. But they go overboard on the tattoos because they don't think they're attractive. And if she was doing that just for the art, just for the creativeness of it, hey, that's fair enough. That's absolutely fair enough. I got my co-streamer, Patches. Yeah, say hi to my stream. Uh, she'll sit here and I'll tell her that I'm gonna stream, and she'll get up and leave. She doesn't like being on there. She's gonna leave. No, you be a good girl. I got my stream going. Yeah, I think they can see you. Maybe not. Oh yeah, they can see you a little bit. But she prefers it. Both of the cats now. He has learned it from her. Both of the cats. If I've got the controller for the TV and I'm changing channels, if I got this in my hand, they found that if they lay on my arm or playing like Ebony on the phone, they have found that if they lay on one of my arms, I can't do anything. I can still run the remote, but I can't play games. And they don't do it in any way I can get mad at them. But and the other thing is like she isn't as bad because she's not as big, but he'll get on my chest if I'm in the bed laying down. I can't even see the TV. And I'm like, yeah, you're picking up some bad habits from your sister. But they but
But I will not stand down.
Need more arcane power. I become more powerful.
Oh, and then I am gonna watch. I might do that the rest of today, and if it's good, I might try to take notes on. But I'm just gonna recommend it because I've done a lot on JFK, and I don't want to get into a rut on that. But you guys probably don't know. He's a pretty good producer. He made A Few Good Men and
I need arcane
several
power.
other movies. But I grew up watching Archie Bunker's Place or whatever, and he played the character Meathead. I mean, I'm not kidding. His character, I don't even remember what the character's name was, because Archie Bunker always called him Meathead, and he was his son. And but he did a podcast on the JFK assassination, and I remember seeing him on the beat talking about it.
I don't have enough arcane power.
But my brother's been going. He's been. I guess it's better than the other shit he was listening to as a podcast. And he was going on and on about these podcasts. And I heard him. He'd occasionally have them on where I could listen to them, you know, whether I wanted to or not. In between his bouts of sickness, he went with me to the store so he could get some stuff, and he would be listening to it because I wanted to get donuts and he didn't need anything in Quick Trip, so he went with me to the store, but he didn't need to go to. He didn't need to go to like Quick Trip, and I forget there was someplace else I stopped. Might have been the dollar store, and he'd be listening to it when I came back on. Well, he's listening to a podcast because this is the thing. He came in today while I was uploading a video to YouTube, and he came in. He goes, "Yeah, check out a website," and he goes, "It's jfksomething.org." And I'm like, I'm not even mad, but I'm just like, well, yeah, thanks for narrowing it down a bit. You know, there's probably at least 10 websites that you could find on there with that. And he's like, well, okay, yeah, you know, and there's a reporter that got fired, and I couldn't remember her name. Now, but granted,
Need more
I don't
arcane
normally
power.
watch her. That's the only reason I mention it to him, because he watches CBS more than I do. I watch pretty much MSNBC, News Nation, NPR, and others. If I'm gonna watch something, BBC News, that's the stuff I'm gonna watch. And I gotta say though, going by some of this, maybe not all of it, some of the stuff I saw, I actually have a lot less respect for the news shows on those because, and now granted, I've seen some of the same stuff on MSNBC, but I will call them out on it. Other people will call them out on it, and they do seem to listen. You know, they're either already doing it or they do seem to listen. Like the other day, they were going off on Trump about something, and I'm like, look, yeah, I'm doing this for the. I'm not really trying to get political, but I'm doing this for the news coverage, and we should all want better news coverage. So, but they were going off on him for banning abortion, and I'm like, now I'm going from memory here, and I'm having a pretty good day so far, but you know, keep in mind, take everything I say with a grain of salt. If it's something you care about, you know, look into it. But you know, and I think I got it from their show. I think it was Rachel Maddow or the girl filling in for Nicole Wallace or something like that. And Morning Joe might have actually, I don't know. Sometimes he gets on a bandwagon for Reagan and that, but it was somewhere on the channel. They pointed out that abortion never used to be an issue in the 70s, 60s, 50s. Abortion was never an issue. And I'm not necessarily, because I can't remember, I'm not necessarily blaming Reagan. I'm not blaming his administration, but it was around the Reagan era. God, it's either, I want to say it's Nixon. Ever since an older Republican was president or was running for office, they've had this white Southern strategy. They knew it was. I think it was after the Dixiecrats. It was after they lost the war on civil rights. I think is when they did it. But they came up with this white Southern strategy. And because the Republicans knew that if you take, you know, your dumb, ignorant, fucking hillbilly, sister fucking Republican Southern man, and convince him that he's better than a black man, you know, just and then he'll not only let you pick his pockets, he'll empty them for you. And they knew it, that racism was a real thing. And if you can convince dumb, ignorant, fucking sister, fucking child, fucking whatever they fucking do down there, that you know they could win, even though they weren't doing anything for them. You know, all you had to do is, you know, just pick on the black person, and that was not working anymore. They knew it, and. So they had to come up, and it was around the Reagan era that they came up with this. Oh, let's make abortion an issue, because if and you actually have to read the Bible, and most of them don't. And this is from the Old Testament, I believe. Now, it might not be in. I'm not entirely sure if it's in the Bible. I want to be fair, but it's either in the Bible or it's in the related literature. The baby, the soul never entered the body until it took a first breath. And, you know, because there's you'd have to look into it a little bit more, but I think it's called the guff. I'm not making that up. I think that might be wrong, but I think that's what it's called. It's because it's not in English. It's from Hebrew or some other, but they call it the guff, and it's where all the souls are captured. And the soul never leaves the guff and enters the body until the child takes that first breath. And this is the thing again. It's something that isn't a thing anymore. But this is what gets me. This is why it. It used to be children that were stillborn. They didn't go to heaven. They didn't go to hell, but they didn't go to heaven. They went to purgatory because the soul had never entered the body. If that makes sense. And they've recently changed that because, you know, it was hard to convert Africa with the child infant mortality rate. They had a lot of deaths during pregnancy, and they, again, doesn't matter what is or isn't. There were people that were just not going to join a church that said their baby that died wasn't going to go to heaven. So they changed it. Now, I would think if they'd had the modern day Pope in, maybe, the one that's, I think he's actually pretty good. But if they had the modern day Pope in, I think they might have figured, well, instead of changing the Bible and the views and all, why don't we do something to help Africa so they don't have so many child debt? That's just me. Maybe we can stop fucking the kids and we can stop wasting all this money on this lavish stuff that we live in, and maybe we can spend that money to the old Vatican for many years was a lot like these TV evangelicals. And this modern Pope, I think he was said, hey, let's get the crooks out of the bank. Let's do some other stuff. Let's go help Africa. Let's help them, get rid of this child mortality rate, this death rate for when they have kids. That's what I think. But no, their idea was to change the fucking propaganda to get more people to join the church, and we'll still let them die. That's what they did. And but that was something that they did.
More arcane power.
It wasn't anything that was real. It was something completely invented.
I'm just warming up.
And so that was the thing. And then, so it was kind of like, there were some that wanted to give Reagan all the credit. And this is what I told them when I contacted them on Threads. I go, you guys, you're doing this, and you're making it look like Trump is the fucking only reason. You're giving him all the blame, or the most of the blame, and give me, I go, fair enough, he deserves a lot of the blame. But I go, this is like when the conservatives used to give Reagan credit for bringing down the wall. And they, Reagan did this, Reagan did that. It was all propaganda. He did his part. It started with JFK. Again, might even go back further, but at least goes back to JFK. He was the one who went in there and said, we are all Berliners. He did his part to bring down the wall. And if you don't know what it is, because most people weren't born when the wall existed, let alone were functioning adults. There was after World War II, Germany was split. The Allies, well, the good guys got like half of it, and Russia got the other half of it. Why it wasn't, why they just didn't get a peace or whatever, because there were like many allied nations, like France and UK should have got, but they got like half, we got half, and Russia built this fucking big wall right down the middle of the fucking country, or middle of a city or something like that, and they were all working on getting that wall get rid of, because I don't think Russia really wanted to give them up. It was just supposed to be a temporary thing. And then, we had to control education, I think, and it's what I would have done. But they had to control education, and it had to go for generations, because otherwise you'd have that. Like now, if you got North Korea cleaned up, there would probably still be sleepers. There would be people in there that have the same mentality. So you'd have to sit in there and control it for like at least 10, 20 years until enough people grew up without that fucking, without that. And it's taken this long. You're starting to see the white supremacists rise in Germany again. So we might not have been there long enough, but that was the thought, was to have it in there long enough to where they learned that they were wrong, so we maybe wouldn't have to fight another world war. And they gave Reagan credit. Well, no, he did his fair share. I'm not trying to. He did his fair share, but. I'm gonna try and get the level 10 before I get Katie's on now, and I really don't want to, but I am gonna try and get level 10. But no, they did that, you know, and I go, they're doing the same thing here. I go, it's the party. It's the fucking party, you know. They started this white Southern strategy, and then that failed. So then they started this whole thing on abortions, and you know, and then you can go forward. And I brought up a bunch of things. I can't remember them all now, but there was something else, and I can't remember what it is. And then I mentioned, you know, George W. Bush and Karl Rove, they did their fair share. They brought in the fucking lunatics, the religious right, the religious nuts that Goldwater had kicked out of the party. And I go, and then you got Trump. Trump put the judge. But, you know, if the other people hadn't have done their part, you know, this is like saying, you know, you can really blame a lot of Al-Qaeda, you know, on Bush or Reagan and Bush 1, because they trained them. You know, the Mujahideen or whatever, that was Bin Laden's group. We trained them to do it. What they did on 9/11, Reagan and Bush Sr. trained them to do it. They didn't purposely think that they were going to attack New York, but they made it possible. They created that monster, and then after a while, it turned on them. They created Frankenstein's monster. And then on 9/11, we found out they weren't our little creation anymore. And you know, so you gotta blame it all. Like, you know, yeah, George Bush was here when it was on, but you gotta blame his dad, and you gotta blame Reagan, because they had their part in it. They didn't have a crystal ball. They didn't think it was going to happen, but they made it possible. And I go, you gotta stop blaming Trump, because I go, if we are lucky and he gets off the ticket, you gotta blame this on the whole fucking party. You know, since Trump left office, you know, the Republican Party, a lot of what's going on, you know, yeah, you blame Trump, but you know, if he was alone on this, he wouldn't have got anything done. You know, you got, you know, Mitch McConnell. That was something else I mentioned. I go, Mitch McConnell, he played his part. because he stole some seats because he didn't want to let the president fucking nominate anybody. Like he stole Merrick Garland's because somehow a year wasn't enough to confirm. I think we dodged a bullet on that. Idiot didn't get in, but he didn't get in. But and then like in Trump's time, they got a person nominated within like 2 weeks. And so those were two seats that should have went to Democrats. We should have got Garland nominated. And since it was happening like weeks before, there was no time to do a thorough investigation. They rammed that through. There were 2 seats. We should have a 5-4 majority. We should have a 5-4 majority right now. And if we wouldn't have let Trump steal an election with Russia, and if we would have let the vote be counted in Florida, Gore would have won. Really, you look at it, we should have an 8-1 majority. If the Republicans hadn't uphold their shit, we would have an 8-1 majority on the seat in the SCOTUS. A lot of this shit wouldn't be happening. And so I go, you gotta start blaming the Republicans as a whole. You can't blame just Trump. Because if he was not being supported and helped, and I mean, we got this thing now. We could eventually have World War III because of the Republicans, because they're not supporting Ukraine. You look at Ukraine now; it's basically Poland all over again. We did not learn the lessons from Hitler. We did not learn the lessons from World War II. Every country, and I'm thinking Israel's the best. Every country that said never again, they gotta quit saying that. They're letting it happen again. I'm not gonna. I went too far. I'm gonna get off of that. But it's like they're letting Poland happen again. Ukraine's the new Poland, as far as it goes. Yeah, it's just, it gets old. But and that was funny is when I did that later on that day, it was the same day, there was someone that they mentioned Trump and the abortion issue, and then they go, well, I guess he isn't completely to blame. So it does do good. I mean, I do see, as long as you're making, it's like when I worked at General Motors, there was one shift leader. If you went to her with a problem and you could convince her it was a serious problem, she would at least try to get it done. There's another one. I didn't really work for her. She was on another shift. There's another one that was the same way. If you could make a good case for why something needed to happen, she'd do what she can. Like she got me locks for my toolbox. I found an old toolbox that had been abandoned, and I didn't have locks for it. Well, she got me a lock for the toolbox. But she wasn't my shift leader, but I had one that was mine. Another one that was good. He was mine too. He did stuff. I was actually surprised at how fast he got it done. But when you went to him with a problem, again, if you could make a case you could make a rational case for why it needed to be done. They were pretty good about getting it because he got a tool replaced in the crib like within a day or two. I figured it'd be months because there was a little. We had 2 pry bars. One of them was a snap-on pry bar, and the thing was, once you got one, they didn't break that often. and so nobody had ordered them for a while, and we got all these new TCs, and the got all these new TCs that didn't have tools, and so they suddenly had to start ordering again. Well, there was some bean counter in a chair. He you know, and so I told him, I go, yeah, I need to order one. 'Cause I don't think I had one, and I go, I gotta order one of these. It was a Snap-on pry bar, and I figured he came back. He goes, hey, he goes, we got 4 or 5 in there. The more of them will be coming later, but he goes, here's the number for it. Call and get your part before they're gone. He goes, I don't know that they're going to know that they're there or not, but he goes, there's only 4 or 5. I mean, and that was like a day or two later. I'm like, wow. He impressed me a few times about how fast he got shit done. But that was not the usual thing. Like usually, it was like that one. I think he got put into material. He wasn't in general production anymore. I think that was an influence on of some of the calls I made. But that guy there, I had and I thought he was useless. I thought he just sat in there. Well, after I embarrassed him by like he was acting like I was lying about stuff, and he a shift leader that I kind of trust a little bit. She told me that he actually tried. He made a lot of phone calls. I mean, but I just figured he wasn't even trying. But you know, if and that was what I was a little bit used to. Okay, I'm gonna end this stream as soon as I can get to a safe spot.
Like the adversary is before us.
But that was what I was used to. You know, it just sitting around, not getting anything done.
I need to go back.
Ooh. Yeah. Okay. But you know, that's what I was used to. You know, just oh, I need this, and then you'd wait and wait and wait, and pretty soon you just figure out, okay, I'm not gonna get it. The other one we had, they called it a rectum wrecker. That was our name, but it was a pry bar. We had to give it to the tool makers. They had to take the pry bar and give it like a 90-degree, bend it into a 90-degree, so it could basically get in. And there's certain jobs like I had to use it. I think the only place I ever had to use it was door line and a little bit over there in trim 3. I think that was the only place I really needed it. Any place else I worked as a team leader, I didn't really need it. Even especially over when I was covering for my team leader that was gone over on the IP line. They might use it on the IP line, but I never did any like hardcore repairs. But it was what you needed for like internal fasteners or whatever to get them. But yeah, I'm gonna end the stream. I didn't quite make it to level 10. KD King's on. I'm gonna watch that. If I get time and I feel like doing anything, I will take some notes so I can do a stream on Monday if I feel like it. And peace out. And I might be back on tomorrow. I'll probably be doing this again and try and get it to level 15. But peace out and hope you're having a good day. It's cold as shit. I think it's me though. It is a little colder outside, but it's not drastic. But I am like I went from where I'd have it at like 71, and as soon as I turned the heat up to 71, I was hot. And now it's at 71 and I'm cold. And I don't think it's all because it's just a couple degrees colder outside. Peace out and have a good day.